The Championship playoffs are upon us once again, and we have two excellent semi-finals in store for the neutral. Derby versus Leeds and Aston Villa versus West Brom. Today we are looking at the tactical systems behind all four teams and how it could help to shape the semi-finals and ultimately decide who will be joining Norwich and Sheffield United in the Premier League next season. Let's start with the semi-final involving ourselves, Derby versus Leeds. Derby have seen something of a massive change in philosophy under Frank Lampard this season. In the past, they've been something of a more reactive side under the likes of Gary Rowett, Steve McLaren and Dan Russell. And whilst the pragmatism has consistently taken them to the playoffs, it has often left them lacking the all-important creativity and imagination to win the playoffs, with Derby having lost the last two playoff semi-finals and the final in 2014. Lampard has tried to solve this issue by introducing a completely new, expansive, short passing style designed to bring the best out of his creative players in a 4-3-3 shape. Starting from the back, Lampard has made a big call, phasing out established experienced players Scott Carson and Andre Wisdom in favour of young keeper Keller Roos and exciting fullback Jayden Bogle, who is joined on the left by the excellent Scott Malone at this level, the two being involved in 14 goals combined from fullback. They are joined by Richard Keogh and Fikayo Tomori in the centre, and while often they'll try to play out the back when pressed high. However, the centre-backs Keogh in particular have at times appeared slightly uncomfortable with this style, making errors and losing the ball against the high pressing sides. The full-backs will push forward at every opportunity. The reason behind playing out the back is to get the ball into former Leeds man Bradley Johnson's feet at the base of midfield. Johnson was initially very unpopular amongst Derby fans, however Lampard has put his trust in making him the captain. Johnson has produced several top performances in this position in recent weeks, particularly with the defensive side of his game, showing excellent discipline in an attempt to protect Derby's back four, which has seen a much improved record defensively in recent weeks as a result of this. Johnson has to stay disciplined and keep things simple to bring the attack-minded midfield into the game, usually the highly talented Mason Mount on loan from Chelsea and Dwayne Holmes. The two have had something of an inconsistent season. Mount is key, and after making an excellent start to the season, saw a dip in form around the winter. However, since return from injury, has played a massive part in turning the season around and helped seal the top six place, dictating games and constructing moves from deep and making Lampard-esque runs into the penalty area, bringing in 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 9 games. Mount's midfield partner has changed throughout the season, but Holmes seems the favourite to start and will provide plenty of energy to cover Mount's midfield bursts on the counter-attack. This moves us onto the front three. Lampard likes to play with inverted wingers Harry Wilson and Tom Lawrence, who will cut in to allow attack-minded fullbacks Bogle and Malone to overlap and create overloads out wide. Wilson on loan from Derby is a key player in this Derby team and by far their best player this season going forward. His ability to shoot from distance, from open play and set pieces means he is a player who can change a game in seconds and will surely be playing Premier League football next season. Lawrence, although less consistent, also has an ability to shoot from distance. Martin Waghorn is likely to start up front if fully fit and is a very hard-working striker who is good at bringing others into play but hasn't been very consistent in front of goal like most of Derby strikers this season. Waghorn, however, has finished the season with 5 goals from his last 9 games. Derby have made a very good finish to the season, unbeaten in the last 6, picking up 14 points in this time while scoring 22 goals in the last 9 games, and most importantly have improved their inconsistent defence with 3 clean sheets in the last 6 games. Something that would have been unheard of a couple of months ago. Lampard seems to have been influenced by his former manager Carlo Ancelotti and plays a very attack-minded system, but Johnson has helped to give the team more balance. Recent professional wins over Bristol City and West Brom have shown Lampard has developed something of a plan B, a willingness to concede possession and play on the counter through Wilson and Lawrence to devastating effects. They are not a side to be taken lightly. So what about us then? Well, as we all know, the last couple of weeks have been a struggle, and the big introduction into this team isn't as necessary. The back four has struggled in recent weeks, with Luke Ayling the only defender to come out with any credit during the Leeds' top 2 collapse. The issues are there for all to see at left back, with first choice options Barry Douglas and Gianni Aliosky out injured. An inverted fullback is less than ideal in the Bielsa system, with Bielsa being keen for his fullbacks to provide width. Stuart Dallas seems the preferred replacement at left back, but will always be looking to cut in onto his right foot when playing out the back, or trying to get forward. Getting Pontus Jansson and Liam Cooper back into the top form is absolutely vital, and there is a need for the back four to show that same composure when playing out the back as at the start of the season, with Jansson and Cooper being guilty of sloppy passing and taking too much time on the ball over the last couple of games. Calvin Phillips is the most important player to this Bielsa system, the best ball winner and the best passer of the ball in the side, moving the ball into the more creative midfielders in front of him to catch Derby's attack-minded fullbacks and midfields out of position. The right hand side is the strength of the team at the moment, with Bill and Pablo showing a terrific understanding out wide and knowing each other's movements perfectly. Mateusz Klich and one of Tyler Roberts or Adam Forshaw is likely to be the midfields too. Klich was excellent in both our league games versus Derby, controlling both games and allowing Leeds to maintain pressure throughout both games. His ability to play one-touch, two-touch and to drift onto the right to rotate with the right hand side is very, very important and so impossible to defend against. Borderline impossible to defend against. And we could also do with another Klich special from distance as well. Depending on how Bielsa sets up, it's likely to be Roberts or Forshaw joining him. Roberts would suit a more attack-minded, daring setup, with his ability to run with the ball and quick forward combinations building momentum in an attacking sense. However, Bielsa may prefer Forshaw in the away leg, with Bielsa selecting Forshaw to face fellow top 6 contenders Villa a few weeks ago. Forshaw will keep things simple and acts as insurance for Klich's box-to-box runs, and will also try to help Phillips, but will not provide much creativity himself. On the left is likely to be Jack Harrison, who will try to keep the width, but has to show more than he has in recent games, otherwise he runs the risk of Tyler Roberts taking his place on the left at some points during the two legs after his impressive second half versus Aston Villa 2 weeks ago in that position. Kemal Roof will look to stretch the game vertically and cut off the passing lines from the defence into Johnson and pressurise the Derby defence into errors. Patrick Bamford may also play in the second leg when back from suspension, depending on the results from the first leg. It's a tough one to call. Derby are clearly in a better form, but neither have great records in the playoffs, with us both combined being successful in just one of our last 8 playoff campaigns. Derby in 2007 were the last ones to be successful. Calling this one is difficult. Both teams win at home in the 2 legs and extra time is very possible. There will not be a lot in this game, and it's difficult to see Lampard not learning from the 2 defeats in the league. The games look likely to be open with both teams playing just a single pivot in midfield. Individuals such as Hernandez and Wilson could play a massive part, but whoever is more clinical seems likely to win. For me, the game could be won by Derby by overloading Leeds out wide, allowing Wilson and Lawrence space to either shoot or create on the overloads. On the other hand, Leeds could win with the midfield's ability to press and win the ball high, allowing Phillips and Klich's range of passing, vision and ability to play the ball quickly to potentially feed Roberts or Hernandez on counter-attacks. A midfield 2 of Roberts and Klich could overload Johnson with Roberts' ability to draw defensive players out of position, allowing space for chief creators Pablo and Klich. It's too close to call, but I would be surprised if there's more than one goal between the 2 teams over the 2 legs. The other semi-final between Aston Villa and West Brom promises to be exciting as well, with both teams setting up to play on the front foot. Villa and West Brom have both scored over 80 goals during the regular campaign. Starting with Villa, Dean Smith appears to have settled on a 4-3-3 system which can change into a more defensive 4-1-4-1 shape depending on the opposition. The back 4 is quite unbalanced. Tyrone Mings and Axel Tuanzebe do form by far the most solid and consistent centre-back partnership out of the 4 teams. However, El Mohammadi and Taylor are both more known for their ability going forward rather than their defensive abilities. Mings and Tuanzebe are both very brave on the ball and good on the ball as well. One of the 2 in possession will look to carry the ball into the midfield whilst the other drops deep to cover in the event of the ball being turned over. The midfield pivot varies between the more defensive and risk-averse Glenn Whelan or the more creative Conor Hourihane. Whelan will look to play short passes into the high 8s John McGinn or Jack Grealish, whilst Hourihane will do the same, but has the ability to also play crossfield passes into the wingers or to exchange positions with John McGinn in possession. The high 8s Grealish and McGinn are very important, both good at shooting from distance and carrying the ball. They will both always look to play progressively rather than dropping deep in an attempt to control the game more, which does mean Villa play very high risk tactics, which is very risky with the quality of teams in the playoffs. The wingers tend to be Albert Adoma and Anwar El Ghazi. Both keep width very well and don't look to cut in onto their weaker foots. Smith hasn't really looked to play inverted wingers. He uses Adoma and El Ghazi to stop the opposition from defending narrowly, and this frees up the space for the midfield trio behind him to create problems. The main attacking threat is clearly Tammy Abraham for me, the best striker in the league, a brilliant finisher who was able to link up play and hold up play as well. Many will point to Grealish as the one to watch, but Abraham is the main threat. He has nearly 50 championship goals from just 2 seasons at this level. Grealish is a superb talent, but Abraham delivers on a more consistent basis, and it's no coincidence Villa's 10-game winning run came to an end during Abraham's absence. West Brom are likely to allow Villa to have the ball when they seem to have settled on a back three system with the emphasis on counter-attacking under caretaker manager James Shan. This is a risk, however, with West Brom starting the season with a back three shape and struggling to keep clean sheets. Recent results don't suggest a change to a back three has helped solve the defensive issue either, so it may be risky trying to drop deep and counter against this Aston Villa side. The three centre-backs, Dawson, Bartley and Hegazi, are all having average seasons by the standards, which doesn't help matters either. The adjustment to 3-4-3 has allowed for a very productive midfield form, with Mason Holgate and Kieran Gibbs providing support out wide, going forward and defensively. Stefan Johansson is a fine ball-playing midfielder, excelling in the position for Fulham over the last 2 to 3 years. He will look to control the game and is not afraid to shoot or tackle, however will need disciplined midfielder Raheem Harper to help avoid the midfield getting overrun, with Villa potentially outnumbering West Brom in this position. The front three is likely to be Jacob Murphy as an out-and-out winger, with Dwight Gale through the middle and Jay Rodriguez out on the wide left. One of the main issues for Villa is balance, and neither Moore or Shan have found a way to build a system to allow them to play Gale and Rodriguez as a front two. Nevertheless, both have maintained good goal scoring records, and it's difficult to be critical at all of West Brom going forward. Again, we're looking at another very close game. Villa potentially outnumbering West Brom in the middle, and Abraham could cause the West Brom back three a lot of problems. West Brom could get joy as well, with the wing backs pushing forward and the talented front three potentially causing the defensively average Al Mohammadi and Taylor problems. The game could be decided on the fascinating battle between Gale and Rodriguez versus Mings and Twanzebe. The two legs look likely to have plenty of goals. On current form and balance, I would back Villa to have the lead from the first leg at Villa Park, and to be able to catch West Brom on the counter-attack to stop a comeback at the Hawthorns. Like the other semi-final, this one could go either way, and West Brom on the day have proven to be unplayable. A very exciting 5 games ahead for the neutral are coming up, not so much for the teams and fans actually involved in the playoffs this time around.